Hello and welcome to another episode of Who Knew in the Moment, the podcast. I'm your host, Phil Friedrich, and today I'm honored to have Justin Bailey with me. Justin is the Director of Personnel for Indiana men's basketball, and really excited to talk about his journey on, growing up, loving basketball, and how he's gotten to Indiana. So, Justin, thanks so much for being on today, my man.
I appreciate the invite. This is definitely a blessing, and I heard a lot of great things about you, so I wanted to hop on and kind of get to know you a little better, and vice versa. So,
Absolutely. Well, to start your journey, you're originally from Arkansas. So talk a little bit about, growing up in Arkansas and, getting introduced to basketball.
man, so born and raised in Fort Smith, Arkansas, which is on the border of Oklahoma,
Yeah.
Northwest Arkansas. My dad introduced me to sports about 3 or 4 years old. It's crazy to say I was actually a football player. I love football more than basketball growing up. Um, but in the ninth grade, I was 5'4", feel probably about a buck 20 with a wet t-shirt on. I was like, let me go ahead and stay on this hardwood over here and get
Yeah.
gridiron. You know what I mean? So I was introduced to sports early on, and I got a love for basketball, and just my competitiveness and all that stuff kind of drove me to this destination in this career, this profession that I'm in right now. So.
I love it. Now, talking about, competitive nature and just competition in general, I think for some people, you just remember always being competitive, right? It was like, man, I just didn't want to lose at anything. It didn't matter if it was tag at recess or if it was, being first in line for something. And then other people, it's almost like, actually, I fell in love with the sport of basketball and then kind of the competitiveness, or maybe the sport of football, and then the competitiveness came after that. Talk a bit about that for your life experience. Where did competition kind of fall for you?
You know what? I think it kind of started a lot earlier than that because
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of five.
Absolutely.
My older,
Everything's a competition.
exactly. So my two older brothers, I got two older sisters, but my two older brothers thought I was baby early on. And so I don't know if you guys remember the game, throw it up, pick them up, whatever people call it.
Yep.
They used to just beat me down, Phil. Hit me, beat me down, and I used to go try to go, run in the house and cry to mom or dad and this and that. And they wouldn't let me. And they taught me like, no, you're gonna have to grow up and, be a little tougher and this and that and figure it out. So I think it started from that. And after, that was probably about first grade, maybe.
Uh-huh.
And after that, it was a wrap. So yeah, I never went in the house again. I'll tell you that. Never. So it
I
started
love
early on and um I don't know. I just got a competitive nature. Just it's in our bloodline. You know what I mean? My dad, he was a boxer.
it.
Um, and so it kind of just trickled down a little bit, if you want to say.
Yeah. Now, as basketball became more and more important to you, the idea or the opportunity of getting to play in college became apparent. And so, talk a little bit about high school for you, and then really what led to your decision to go to Fort Smith and play basketball there.
Gotcha. So in high school, again, I was a little small until I grew about 11th, 12th grade to about 5'11", 6 foot. So I didn't have any offers or anything like that. But I was um I was always a leader by example. You know what I mean? So out
Mhm.
there in practice, we had a couple of other guys that were older as I was a sophomore or junior that I tried to compete against, try to take their spot. And as a sophomore, I started a lot of games in high school, which was great for me. So it gave me a sense of confidence that, you know
Yeah.
what, maybe I can do this. And
Yeah.
as I continue on with my high school career, still didn't get any offers.
Hmm.
And so I want to say it was probably Phil, maybe right after the state tournament in Arkansas, that UA Fort Smith is Division II now. That
Mhm.
UA Fort Smith came and offered me a scholarship to stay home. They're JUCO, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
It was JUCO at the time. And so I decided to do that over. I had a couple like NAIAs or this and that. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and stay home. So I
Yeah.
decided to do that, which I think was probably the best decision I ever made because it helped me grow up. I know I was home,
Yeah.
but it definitely helped me grow up. So went there, uh, for 2 years, had a great experience. We could talk about that a little bit more, but JUCO, that route, definitely helped me. So
Yeah. So I think, and the landscape of basketball is changing, and we'll talk about that. But you know, uh, at the time, the junior college route is difficult because you're getting guys that really see this as a stepping stone to their next opportunity, right? It's kind of like, hey, I'm here for 1 year, maybe two, and then I'm, off to the next spot and, trying to get the bigger scholarship or the full scholarship that I was looking for out of high school. But you guys had some team success. So talk a little bit about, that chemistry that you guys were able to cultivate when, I would say more traditionally, people saw it as kind of like a I'm here for me, and for to have the team success you guys have, there had to be some buy-in to the culture of that.
no, it definitely was, man. And I don't like to brag, quote unquote, but
Hey,
we
if
won the
it's
national
true, there's no
championship.
bragging. It's all good.
Won the national championship back in June.
Yes, sir.
But we had a great culture, a great chemistry. Jeremy Cox was our head coach at the time. And if you know Jeremy Cox, he's hard nosed.
Mhm.
And I learned a lot from that man. We still talk once or twice a month every day. You know what I
Amazing.
mean? And I learned a lot from him. He was the one. It's funny. I'm glad we're going through this story. So like I said, nobody was recruiting me. I went to Oh man, it was a Catholic church. They had like some type of event. I'm with my girlfriend, and I bump into him. He stops me, and he was like, "Squash." Squash is my nickname. Squash, how you doing? This and that, blah blah blah. I'm doing good, coach. I need you to come by the office tomorrow. I was like, okay, why? Let's just talk. Let's talk. So I went by the office. He was like, I'm gonna offer you a scholarship, this and that. In my opinion, if I never would have bumped into him at that event, I don't know if he would have did that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I would have
Yeah.
never knew if he would have did that. And I love that man till this day. Um, but our culture and everything that we had, our chemistry with that team was unbelievable, man. We had a great team. It was 33-3. In my opinion, I think it's still the best JUCO team ever.
Yeah.
But I mean, JUCO is a great route for people. Um, it just it's your story. It You just got to believe in your faith and in God because your story is different. Like I told this story earlier. I was fishing with Lamar and Nick and TC, our couple of our players earlier. So I told this story about JUCO. So, Sonny Weems is from Arkansas,
Okay.
and he was my teammate. He was the number one JUCO player in the country, right?
Yeah.
Going to the Razorbacks. But it was one day in practice, Phil. We had every coach you can imagine on the sideline. Every
Yeah.
coach, head coach. When I say I busted Sonny's butt, he'll tell you. I can call him. He'll tell you I busted his butt, and I just knew somebody was going to talk to me afterwards or send me some. I didn't get nothing.
Mm.
I didn't get a thing, not
Yeah.
one thing. But at the same time, it happens. I had to
Yeah.
swallow my ego. I had to choose a different route,
Hmm.
and that's that. Those type of things and those type of stories and those type of situations can make you into the person you are today. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm just not that good. Maybe I'm 6'1", I'm not 6'6". So what route can I go now? You know what I mean? So I understood early on what type of player I could be and what people are looking for. So
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you this, and you can take and run with it however you'd like.
yeah,
But all right, so you have a great play against Sonny. I'm sure internally that gives you a vote of confidence,
you
right?
couldn't
Here's
tell
the
me
number
nothing at
one player,
the time.
and I put a move on him. Like I'm feeling good about myself. Then you have the outside perspective, which is, hey, in my head, I kind of thought at least somebody would reach out after this, but I had no reach outs after it. So, how do you balance the confidence from within versus not letting the outside, noise or maybe lack thereof noise impact the confidence that you have instilled inside yourself?
Man, I think that starts with my dad and my parenting or my mom. Like they just
Mm.
told me whatever's for you is for you. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like because I went home and I told them about it,
Yeah.
and they just instilled that in me. And like I said, I've just put my ego to the side and I kept working. Uh, there was one point where I wanted to quit. I'm not gonna lie to you. And Jeremy Cox, the head coach I just told you about, that
Yeah.
recruited me, he was like, "JB, I'm not sure why you want to do that."
Mm.
You're gonna be good. I promise you. This and that, blah, blah, blah. And the next day I had one of my best practices as well. But I think they just instilled that in me. I was
Yeah.
confident enough to understand or smart enough to understand, okay, I'm not Sonny Weems. I'm not 6'6".
Yeah.
I'm not what Division I head coaches want. I'm not a splash, signee or this and that. And that's another reason why I didn't try to go play overseas, go play pro. I'm a 6'1" shooting guard.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids nowadays don't quite understand what coaches are looking for. I was blessed enough to understand early this is probably not what you're gonna make a lot of your money, you know what I mean, coming from. So
Yeah. Now, as you're, getting the opportunity to play, you're learning from a coach, and this idea of coaching ends up being something to pursue, and you get the opportunity to go be a GA at Arizona State. So talk a little about kind of how you ended up getting into the coaching world and how you landed at Arizona State.
and that's a great story. So after I finished JUCO, um, so I played 2 years at UA Fort Smith. Josh Newman came to be the head coach the following year, who gave me my first assistant coach job after Arizona State, but we'll get to that part.
Yeah.
So I went to go play Division II at UT Permian Base in Odessa, Texas.
Yeah.
I was out there for 3 years because I redshirted my first year at UA Fort Smith. So I went there for 3 years, had a pretty good career. We weren't very good. If I'm your Batman, we're not very good. Our last year, my senior year, I was Batman. I could be Robin, Phil, but Batman, I'm not Batman.
Fair enough.
So our head coach, Dwayne Osborne, who I love absolutely to death, and I tell him every time I talk to him, we talk all the time. He was the one that was like, "Hey, Squash, you want to think about coaching?" I was like, "No,
Mm.
I want to go play overseas. I want to go make some money." Do this. He's like, "Yeah, you can." And he tried to help me get some jobs. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Um, it just didn't happen. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And again, I kind of understood why. And so one day, Phil, I was just on my laptop in my dorm room because he told me about grad assistant spots, right?
Yeah.
And so my former assistant coach at UA Fort Smith, my last year, Robert Spence, he was director of operations at Arizona State. He just got there. It's funny because I emailed him because the women's side had an opening for a GA spot.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, if you know anybody on the women's side, can you help me out? This, and that, blah, blah, blah. He called me. He said, hey, I might have something for you on the men's side. Because he
Mm.
just remember I was a good player. My IQ was really good. You know what I mean? Like I understood
Yeah.
scouts and this, and that. And I flew out there for the camp. They had like 2 or 3 camps in a row. Kind of like interview. You know how it goes.
Yeah. You bet.
And I killed it. And Herb Sendek ended up hiring me as a GA. That's how that happened. I was going to try to work on the women's side of Arizona State, ended up on men's side because I just knew somebody out there. That's exactly how it happened. I can't make that story up.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, the GA role is certainly not a glamorous job by any stretch of the imagination, right? You're getting asked to do 20 hours a day of work and not getting
4 or 5
compensated.
manager job,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. But you also get to see all of the operations of a basketball team, right? And I think that's something that can get really overlooked if you never have had that type of a role is, man, it's helpful to understand all the elements because someday when you get to be a head coach or you get to be, a top assistant, you understand what that person's going through. You understand better how to delegate. So talk a little bit about maybe, what eye-opening things you got into the coaching world from your time with Arizona State.
Man, I think the best thing and the most important thing I can say is it's not going to be a drawn out story. I don't think any job is too big or too little
Mm.
for
Yep.
me. Even in the position I'm in now, or last year as associate head coach, or when I was a head coach, if I see a wet spot on the floor, I'm the first one getting the towel and I'm
Yep.
wiping it up. Like I don't care. But I
Yep.
learned that as a GA, you know what I mean? Just there's no job bigger or less than anybody. And
Yep.
I think a lot of people or a lot of coaches forget that or forget where they come from. That's
Mhm.
one of the main things I learned as a GA at Arizona State. Uh, of course, we do film, we watch film, we do this, we help with scouts, but it's just the thought and the feeling of be able to help a program in
Yeah.
any capacity. And I love that part. And I still do it today.
Hmm. That's good. I love that. Now, you're in the program at Arizona State, and then you make the leap over to Lamar as an assistant coach. So, talk about one, how that came to be, but two, that thought process. I always think, in the coaching world, sometimes you think, all right, well, if I'm in the Power Five, I should just try and stay there as much as I can. Other times it's, hey, maybe I want to get a larger role, but maybe at a smaller school. So talk about that juggling act for you on the decision there.
I got you. So actually, after Arizona State, I went back home to UA Fort Smith. At the
Okay,
time, it turned Division II.
got it.
So Josh Newman, he hired me there, who's the assistant coach at Western Kentucky right now. And he was my coach, JUCO, my second year. So he
Yeah.
hired me back home because he values, Josh. I say Josh, excuse me, it's disrespectful. Coach Newman is what I call him. That's coach. So if he sees this, I apologize, coach. That's just me. But coach, he values guys that kind of went through not the struggle, but they got it out the mud like he did. He was a manager,
Yep.
he was a GA, all that stuff. So he coached me. He knew that I was a good basketball player, my IQ. He knew I was at Arizona State. So it was like, hey, I want to hire somebody that went through the same stuff I went through.
Absolutely.
So he brought me back home. And that was my first job, division
Mm.
assistant coach. And so I was there for 4 years, and I give credit to coach all the time because he's one of the ones like, hey, if you're here longer than 2 or 3 years, you ain't doing your job.
Mm.
I was there 4 years, so I felt some pressure now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's not because I wasn't doing my job, it's just how it happens. But he's trying to push me out the door, not because I'm not good, it's because you deserve a Division I job.
Mm. Yeah.
And so that's how I got to Lamar. I had some connections at Lamar, and he was on the phone with Tick Price every day, like, hey, you need to hire this dude, this, and that, blah, blah, blah. So that's how I ended up at Lamar for 2 years. Because of Josh, man. Coach Newman, he definitely helped me out. And that's one of my best mentors right now. He was
Love
supposed
it.
to come up here to Bloomington a couple of weeks ago. He didn't get a chance to, but he was going to stay at the house and everything. That's how close our relationship is.
Yeah.
Um, he was one of the ones, or the main one that got me at Lamar because he pushed me out the door because I didn't want to leave home. I mean, it's home like
Yeah.
family there, this and that. It was like, no, you got to go, not keep.
Amazing.
And he kicked me out the door. So.
Now, as you have played for multiple coaches at this point, you've been on multiple coaching staffs. Talk about, starting to create your own identity as a coach. I think that's something where you can watch all the practices you want and you can read all the books and you can go to all the clinics and see all these different things, but eventually it's got to be Justin's personality and impacted by these other coaches that you're getting to experience. So talk about how you started to kind of create your own coaching strategy and style, as Justin Bailey the coach.
No, that's a great question, man. So from Jeremy Cox, who I played for, I didn't work for him, but played for. He's just hard nosed, tough dude every day. Like game days, we practiced on game days, not a walkthrough, practice.
Man,
And
we talking about practice.
we're not talking about practice. And then went out and won by 20. You know what I mean? But he just
Yeah.
hard nosed every day. So I respect the toughness part from him.
Yeah.
Uh, Josh Newman, who I just talked about, played for, worked for. He's probably the most influential coach that I worked for in my career. One, because he was the first one I worked for. Two, he just taught me the game.
Hmm.
He
Yeah.
taught me how to recruit. He taught me how to be aggressive. He taught me how to scout. He took his time with it. You know what I mean? Like he just didn't expect it. He knew I was green coming in. He wanted to mold me, and he did that. And I learned a lot, a lot. Any assistant coach that worked for Josh Newman, ask him. They'll tell you the same exact thing. He's a he's a he's a he's a coach that wants to see the best in you and out of you. Um,
Yeah.
and he just taught me so much, like I said, from recruiting, mainly recruiting. mainly because Coach Newman, he's a beast in recruiting. Like he figures stuff out. And he taught me, you know what? A lot of coaches don't understand this too. Like you could be in staff meetings and the boss may ask you something. You may have an opinion on it, but do you have a solution? Coach
Yeah.
Newman used to be like, hey, this is not working, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, coach, I think the same thing, this and that. Well, Bailey, what do you think we should do? Ah, I don't know. You the head coach. That's why I just gave you my opinion. No, I want solutions. He
Yeah.
taught me that. So every time I go into a staff meeting or whatever, if I have an opinion, I have a solution right behind it, whether you
That's
like it or
good.
not. You know what
Yep.
I mean? So he taught me that. Herb Sendek as a GA, he's one of the best offensive minds in the country still.
Mm.
He taught me how to watch film.
Yeah.
Film is very, very important. So I learned that from him. Um, Hopefully we don't play them anytime soon because he's really good. Tick Price at Lamar. Listen, Tick, a lot of people don't give Tick Price his credit. Tick is one of the most unbelievable human beings you'll ever be around. Hell
Wow.
of a coach. Hell of a coach. He gets the best out of his players. He's a tough-minded coach too, but he's one of the ones that will teach you to treat people that may not be able to do anything for you, but you treat them the same way that can somebody else can do a lot for you.
Yeah.
Used to have camps, man, at Lamar. Of course, everybody has camps.
Yeah.
Uh, he used to the janitor to be walking by. He'll stop him. Hey, my man. He's known by first name. Hey, my man, what size shirt you wear? Oh, large. He'll hustle over to give him a shirt. We used to go by, I don't know, Sonic or McDonald's to get food for camps. He'll walk in with 10 to 12 shirts for the employees. Like he treated people how he thought he should be treated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody's never less than in his eyes. So I learned that from him. And that kind of goes back to what I said, like the sweat on the floor. I'm the first one out there because I know how these managers feel. And I want
Yep.
to feel less than. I want them to see like I'm just as equal as you.
Yes.
Learned that from Tick Price. Um, Kim Anderson, I worked for Kim Anderson at Pitt State, and he's a savage too in recruiting. He wants to go get the best players, the most talented players. Uh,
Yeah.
he helped me with that. He was offensively a great mind I could learn from. He knew how to run a program, so learned that from him. And now DeVries he's on another level. Oh my goodness. Offensively, he's on another level. And I'm so excited for this season just to learn so this these past couple months in the summer. I learned so much. And I'm still like, oh my goodness. I don't know everything yet because he's a guru.
Yeah.
Uh he's a people's person. He understands people. He loves people. He loves his players. He knows how to get the best out of them. So I'm excited for this year to work under him, get to know him better, and develop that relationship. But no, all those coaches, man, they just kind of, like you said, molded me where if I'm a head coach again, Lord's will, I know how to treat people. I know how to run offense. I know how to run defense. I know how to run practice. I know how to shake hands and kiss babies on the side. I just know all that. You know what I mean? So it's been
Yeah.
a blessing to work for these head coaches and play for these head coaches.
I love it. So to talk about being a head coach again, after Lamar, you end up going back and being a head coach this time at Fort Smith. So talk a little bit about, there's just some magnetic attraction for you back to home and back to Fort Smith. So talk a little bit about making that transition back home.
No, it was man, it was a huge blessing. It was the town was kind of, as the young folks say, it was kind of lit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everybody was excited. I was coming back home, and I knew I was ready for it. You know what I mean? Coach Price
Yep.
helped me out with it. Coach Newman just left to take the job at UT Permian Basin, where I played at. It just all
Man,
made
what
sense.
a little web you
Yeah,
got there.
it just all made sense. So I went back home. Um, I had it rolling for a second. Like Coach Newman had the roster in place. Well, he left me with 9 freshmen and two juniors and a senior, but we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
but we had it rolling for a minute. I was learning a lot as a head coach, A lot of people say when you move 6 inches over to the other seat, it's
Yep.
different, Phil. It's
Yep.
really different. Like the spotlight is just beaming on you.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was ready for it. Unfortunately, there was some things that happened that caused me to lose my job. You know what I mean? Which I still today don't think was worthy of it, but I would take accountability for my part. Um, you know what? Just to be open and transparent, a lot of people think I was downtown Fort Smith, having a good time, drinking this, and that, and caught a DUI going back home. That's not
Yep.
the case. I was driving back home 8 hours from a recruiting trip, and I was 40 minutes from my doorstep. And I was in a town that, I hate to say this, but doesn't, quite look like I do. So,
Yep.
neither here nor there. That happened and lost the job. That's how I ended up at Pitt State. But you know what? It was a blessing in disguise because I learned a lot being in that seat for
Mhm.
those 6, 7, 8, 9 months, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I grew as a coach, as a human being, as a man, as a father, all
Yep.
that stuff. So I don't, I was butthurt early on, very
Yep.
butthurt, especially by the university and those guys. But I was the bigger man. Like I went back last year and talked to everybody around there. I went to the Hall of Fame because they put Coach Cox in that coached the national championship team and
Yep.
talked to the people around there, and everything was fine. So um, everything happens for a reason, man. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
But I was very. It felt good. You take the weight off your shoulder, just going back and let people know, like, you know what, you guys, it didn't affect me like you thought it would,
Yep.
and I'm back here. So
Well, I love that. And kudos to you on the development of that. And one thing, I'd love for you to just, maybe elaborate on is everyone's been in that season, right?
yeah,
You made a decision or something didn't go the way you had hoped it would go, and you feel wrongly, accused or in a spot that you shouldn't be in. And there's two ways you can go about it, right? You can be the victim, right, and blame everyone else and no, it's everyone else's fault and just kind of continue in that spiral. Or you can say, all right, I got to pivot and go to the next,
yeah.
go on to the next thing. And guess what? Like, I'm just gonna decide that this is a moment to go create the next chapter instead of saying, well, maybe this is the end of a book, right? So talk about that for you and pivoting then to Pitt State and the opportunity there.
Man. So I'm not, just to be honest, I was depressed for a long time, man.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure if you are many people. I'm a man of faith though,
Yep.
and for a while I stopped reading the Bible, this, and
Hmm.
that. And one of my good friends came back to me. He got me out the house. He got me start doing different things, and my faith started to come back. And if it wasn't for that, I'm not sure where I would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right now, I could reach and get my Bible
Yep.
right here, right next to me. Um, and I think that's what got me out of that depression. And I
Yeah.
started to pray more, started to have more faith in uh, the connections I have, and this, and that. And next thing you know, Coach Anderson calls out the blue, out the blue. And we played. It's funny, we played Coach Anderson the year before when I was the head coach at Fort Smith. We went up there and we
Yeah.
should have beat him, but we did. He had a really good team. I think we lost by 4 or 5 points, but he after the game, him and his assistant coach called and texted me. He was like, "Hey, coach, you're doing a great job, this, and that." So he kind of already had an idea of who I was,
Yeah.
what I can do. But I want to say, man, it's just my faith and surrounding your people, surrounding yourself with people and put people in your circle that you can trust and has the best interest for you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, I want to say that's the main thing and the biggest thing that got me out of that depression and in that stage I was in for the first 2 months before I got back in this little book over here, honestly. Um, and it was tough, man. It really was. Like I didn't want to watch basketball. I didn't want to talk basketball. I didn't want to watch. I just stayed at the house. Stayed
Hmm.
at the house with my kids, and that was it. But they seen how draining it was on me and stressful it was on me, and that wasn't good for them as well. So um, I was able to bounce back just because of my circle and my faith, honestly, to tell you the truth.
I love that. Well, and I think to that point, on the face side, it's like, sometimes, and once again, I don't know the season of life you're in, but it's like sometimes God has to remind us, hey, I need to be at the center of it, right? So if you think, if Justin thinks, oh, hey, I'm the man, I'm the head coach, it's like, hey, you know what? Let's remember, no, I'm the center of your life, right? And
Let me
you
humble
make
you
sure.
real quick, and this is
That's right. You make sure I'm the center and everything else revolves around that. Not, hey, basketball's here and this is there and this is there, and then I'm somewhere, way over that way. It's like, no, I need to be at the center of this life.
exactly. No, he definitely does that, man. Our Lord and Savior, he's a lot of people don't understand. He's a comedian, man. He'll throw some curveballs at you. You know what I mean? And it's for
Yep.
the good. It's for our own good if you
Yep.
understand what he's trying to do and trying to tell you and prepare you for, I guess is the best way to put it.
I love it. I love it. So your time at Pitt State, once again, kind of revitalizes you and rejuvenates you and, gets you back into the excitement of basketball.
Yep.
But, it's also a new environment. And I always think, the beauty of sports, we're talking about in basketball today is like it's the great equalizer, right? Like all of a sudden you're in a new environment, but it's like, oh, I love basketball, you love basketball. Like let's do this basketball thing. But talk a little about, for you moving to these different spots and being able to make relationships quickly and, I don't know, last long, right? Not just, hey, I'm here, see what happens in the next 6, 9 months, and then see what happens. It's like, no, you've been able to do a great job of cultivating relationships, and then obviously doors have opened because of, who you've been to people when you're there.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think it's all about relationships, man. It's not whether you coach basketball, football, soccer, whatever it is. I know we're coaches, we all want to win, but at the same time, it's about people and it's about being able to help people or people can be able to help you. And
Mm.
so new situations, you just want to develop those relationships. You want to get to know people because you never know what can happen. You know what I mean? Like let's be open and honest right now. I'm on a podcast with you because of who?
Yeah,
One of
this
our
Jake
good friends.
Hamburger. Shout out.
Shout out to Jake Hamburg. That's just what it is. And we had a great time at Pitt State. Um, but that's what it's all about. And I think if you do that, which I think is the right way, I think everything else just kind of falls into place. The
Yeah.
winning will fall into place. The
Yeah.
support will fall into place. All those things, you know what I mean? So I think that's just important, just developing those type of relationships wherever you go. Uh,
Yeah.
it will come back full circle, in my opinion.
Now, you mentioned, coaching and getting the most out of your players. And I think that is, you know, interesting. We could talk about it in the sense of business owners, right? We could talk about it in the sense of coaching. And it's like the whole idea, you could talk about it as a parent, right? Like the
Yeah.
whole idea is I want to help whoever it is that's in my circle maximize their potential or what I think they're capable of. And, I think different coaches have gone about that different ways. And I'd love to just hear your insight there. I think sometimes, you hear the story of the coach that's like, hey, it's my way or the highway. And guys just learn to assimilate to that coach, or they realize, hey, this is a really bad fit and they go off somewhere else, right? And then I think there's other coaching styles that say, hey, I want to get to know the player. And then I'll maybe coach them based on how they like to be coached, right? Like, hey, I know if I yell at this guy in front of the whole team, he's going to crumble. I need to pull him over to the side, talk to him one on one, and then send him back in, and he'll be better that way. So, how have you seen, the most effective leadership, whether it's from you or from coaches you've coached with, to maximize, what you're drawing out of a player?
I think I think the best way to do that, you got to, like you say, you got to understand your players kind of individually.
Yeah.
Because you cannot coach everybody the same. You can't. You just can't. Everybody has different type of emotions. Everybody came from a different background. You just can't have my way or the highway, or you will not get the best out of them.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, 1,000%. I'm gonna stand on 10 toes with that. You just
Yep.
can't. So I think you have to get to know. these kids, and they're kids. They're
Yeah.
kids. You have to get to know them as people, what drives them, what they don't like, what you can or cannot say. You just and that takes time. It takes lunch. It
Yep.
takes invite them over for dinner. Um, I just came back right before our pot. I just came back from fishing with three of our players.
Yep.
Fishing's my favorite hobby. I just learned it was two of their favorite hobbies, and we
I
had a
love it.
and we just talked about different things. And now I can go back to my boss and say, hey, this kid is this type of way. So
Yep.
he knows now how to coach him, how to get the best out of him.
Mm.
I just think that's the best way to do it, man. You gotta relate to these kids, ask them questions, not basketball wise, like just talk to them as people.
Hmm.
Get to know them. Don't make them feel like you're using them just for one thing, which is just on the court. You can't do
Yep.
that. And it's not the right thing to do. Like if you're in the coaching just to win games and get the biggest salary and get rings, I don't think you need to be a coach. I'm in
Yep.
coaching because I want to mentor these young men. I want them to see and know that if I can make it from where I came from and the adversity I went through and this and that, man, you can do whatever you want to do. You know what
Yep.
I mean? And I think when you get that connection, that relationship with those players, I promise you, you'll get the best out of them on the court. You can pull them to the side and excuse my language, getting their ass real quick.
Yeah.
Coach, you're right. I got you. And they'll go
Yep.
perform. So I do think it's a relationship based nowadays, especially with NIL, because now they're
Yes.
making more money than everybody. So how can
Hmm.
you coach a player that's making more money than you?
Right. Yep.
Relationship. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have to have some type of relationship with them.
I
Uh,
love that.
yeah, yeah.
Well, and I love that that's your perspective. And, if I'll give you a couple seconds, but if there's any, maybe one or two stories that really drove that home for you. I remember, when I was coaching, um, I had recruited a kid. He had come and played for us for 2 years. He ended up transferring. And anyway, I get a phone call from like a year after he transfers, which, I don't know what
Yeah,
your experience has been, but typically you don't hear back from a kid, after they transfer out. Usually like, hey, I'm on to my life
exactly.
and well, I'm still doing mine. Wait, he's like, hey, my girlfriend and I broke up. I just need to talk. And you just go, and that's why you coach, right? Because yes, basketball is important, right? Otherwise, he's not staying on scholarship. I'm not keeping a job, right? You get let go. But it also transcends, the what's happening on the court. And if that's all it is, to your point, it's like, well, that's not going to be a lifelong relationship. But all of a sudden you get that random phone call for something completely unrelated and you go, and that was why we did it. So has there been any, opportunities like that for you where you're really like, yes, and this is, why I am still in coaching?
And you might not be able to reach all 13 or 15 you have on roster, but if you can reach one or two a year, you
Yep.
did your job. In my
Yep.
opinion, you did your job.
Yep.
You helped the kid be better grown up to be a young man. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And like you say, I still got guys calling and texting me. I'm in a group chat with a couple of them talking about the Cowboys and Eagles the other day. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I coached them 2 or 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's just that relationship and all those good things that okay, this is why I coach. This is fun. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? This is the fun part. Winning is fun. Don't get me wrong. Winning is fun.
Yep. Yep.
This is the fun part. Going back to those conversations with those guys. So
I love that. Now, after your time at Pitt State, you end up going to Sam Houston State. And so talk a little bit about that pivot there and once again, the new opportunity at hand.
I mean, talking about that, let's go back to the faith part that I
Yeah.
had. So um I was presented the opportunity to go to Cal State Fullerton
God.
and took a trip out there, seen it, this and that, blah, blah, blah. The job was offered. I knew it was far away. Um, I knew it was going to be hard financially. So I got back home. I got back to Pitt State, and I prayed. I was
Mm.
like, you know, Lord, if this is the journey, this is the route you want me to take, blah, blah, blah. Just help me on my way. If there's anything else that you want to present for me, anything better, let me know. I promise you, Phil, the next morning I get a call from Jason Hooten, Sam Houston State. The next morning.
Uh, Sense
That's
of
how
humor.
That's how that happened. That's how that, or I'd have been at Cal State Fullerton, but that's
Yeah.
how that happened. So me and Jason talked, or Coach Hooten talked. Again, I hate calling coaches by their first name. I'm sorry, but that's how me and Coach Hooten started talking, and it's still far away from home. Like that's fine.
Mhm.
It's coaching business. Well, we all do what we need to do in this coaching business. I'll go wherever if it's the right situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Coach Hooten's a hell of a coach, and he won a lot of games. I'm not saying Cal State Fullerton and Coach Taylor out there don't do a great job because he does. He's one of the really good coaches out there on the West Coast for sure. But Sam Houston just made more sense to me.
Yeah.
And like I said, he called the very next morning and ended up going out there. He actually called a year before my first year at Pitt State. He ended up hiring somebody else, and I guess they doubled back the year after because somebody else left and called me again. And the salary and stuff, it was kind of the same, but Texas, I mean, I don't know if you know, no state tax.
That's
California,
right.
a lot more expensive. So now you got to put a lot of other things in perspective.
Yep.
So that's why I ended up going to Sam Houston State, which, was probably the best decision I ever made, to be honest with you. So,
Why is that?
just learned a lot from Hooten.
Yeah.
Um, it was a different uh scenario as far as coaching, as far as being somewhere different. Uh,
Yeah.
Pitt State is very small. Huntsville's not big, but it's, you know what I mean. It's bigger than Pitt was.
Oh,
It's close to the cities. Like the recruiting I had to do was different from Division II.
yeah.
Getting back to that level, um, it just made a lot of sense for me to go back and try it back out. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to, one day go back and be a D2 head coach again, which hopefully can happen, Lord's will. But it was a blessing because Coach Hooten is a defensive minded coach like I am. But I learned so much more from that man that I'd had no clue about.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate my time down there with him for 2 years. And Coach Mudge got the job after that, who worked for Hooten, I want to say 14, 15 years. And me and Mudge are like this. That's my guy. And he's offensive minded. And so I learned a lot from him offensively. And he just gave me the reins to be, he was like, JB, you was a head coach once. Like, this is my first time. I need your help.
Yeah.
And we collaborated, we got close, we talked all the time about different things. And he just gave me that confidence again, like, you can really do this.
Yeah.
And it just clicked. It just clicked. So I'm glad I made that decision. And it ultimately happened to end me up here in Indiana. So
Well, go ahead and share how we get from Sam Houston State to now starting the new journey at Indiana.
I got you. So our I want to say my third year at Sam, we ended up winning the Conference USA. It was our first year in Conference USA, so we ended up winning
Yeah.
the championship. Should have went to the tournament. Ended up losing to UTEP in the conference tournament. Then last year was a tough year. We had two starters quit on us. We had one that was injured,
Wow.
and we lost a lot of games by 6, 5, 4 points or less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good team, great kids. I mean, they all still bought in. They never quit on us. Our best player at the time was Lamar Wilkerson. I recruited Lamar to Sam,
Yeah.
found him out of JUCO, and Lamar's one of the greatest kids you can ever be around. His family is awesome. His mom is awesome. This, and that. And so he ended up being really, really good for us last year. I mean, he was a
Yeah.
top 5 or top 10 scorer in the country. He was a
Yeah.
top 2 shooting guard in the country. He had every school imaginable in the portal. Me and Mudge basically kicked him out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Man, coach, if you guys got more NIL, I'll stay. He was like, nope, you leaving. Go. Bye. You're not doing this. And so he was going through that whole recruiting process. And you know what? Him and his mom, when I recruited him out of Three Rivers JUCO, she was like, Coach, I'm giving you my word and I trust you. If you take care of my baby, that's all that matters. I just want you to look out for my baby.
Yeah.
Did that. And so when the portal came, they were blowing me up every day, Mom and Lamar. Coach, what you think about this place? What you think about this place? Like we talked every day about every school that was contacting me.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of people don't know this. He ended up picking Indiana over I mean, he had Kentucky, Kansas, Arkansas, you name all of them. But DeVries did a hell of a job in the recruiting pitch. And I told Lamar, I was like, out of all the people, I feel like DeVries is very genuine in what he's
Mm.
trying to say and what he's trying to do for you. You know what I mean? I feel, promise you, but I had no job offer, no
Yeah.
nothing, nothing.
Right.
And I just told him, that's what I just told Lamar. It's like, hey, I just think Indiana's would be a good fit for you. And we played at Indiana last year. So he knew the environment, he knew
Yeah.
the atmosphere, like he knew all that. And he trusted DeVries. And so he ended up picking Indiana. A couple of days later, I get a call from DeVries. Like, hey, I got another spot, this, and that, blah, blah, blah. And that's how that happened. And
Yep.
so I always wanted to be at this level, high major again.
Yeah.
Um, and so talked to Mudge about it. And again, Mudge kicked me out too. He was like, nope, gotta go. It's
Yeah.
life changing, this, and that. And I talked to Lamar's mom about it. And she was like, if you could be around my baby, I want you there. You're the only person I trust.
Yep.
So I was like, I mean, if everybody else is good with it, let me go ahead and try it out myself. And so that's kind of how that happened. Again, it's just God work. He's
Yes.
working, man. He's always working. If you do right, I promise you, he'll show up at the right time and do right by you. So that's how that.
Well, well, and to that comment of, do right. I mean, I think so frequently people feel like, oh, I've got to go crush this interview, or, hey, this is that 30-minute moment that's going to make or break me. And I think what I'm continuously hearing throughout your journey, whether it's being drawn back to, college after you played there, it's that whole idea of you are who you are, and people are constantly taking note of that. And if you carry yourself in a certain way, all of a sudden, when an opportunity presents itself, Justin sticks out, right? Where if, hey, you had a bad attitude when you were playing and, at Fort Smith, and then all of a sudden there's a coaching opportunity, they're not going to think of you.
Exactly.
Or, after UT Permian, all of a sudden you got a AD that's at Arizona State. If you
Yeah.
were an absolute pain in his butt the whole time, there's 0% chance that when you reach out about, a GA role, he's like, yeah, I could just call him. It's like, sorry, email didn't come through, man. Like I got busy, I didn't respond. But I think once again, it's who you are, right? You carry yourself in a certain way. Nothing's too big for me. I want to help others before knowing what they could ever do for me. And that inevitably is something that stands out to people. And they're like, well, gosh, now that I've got an opportunity, I want to fill that with Justin. So, talk a little bit about just that idea of it's not about the interview, right? You're interviewing for the job before you ever get the interview for the job.
I'm big on, excuse me, I'm big on character, man. And I
Yeah.
think character speaks and goes a long way. And I want people to like me for who I am.
Mm.
If you ask people in this business, in this coaching business, I've never been that person, that coach. And you got a lot of them. I've never been that person, the coach that chased jobs. Never. Like
Yep.
I never chased the high major. I never try to get in circles to get my name out there. Like I never DM'd or messaged somebody on Twitter that does the top, I don't know, 50 assistant coaches in the mid-major. Like I just never did that. And there was so many people, there was agents that told me, there was mentors that told me, there was other coaches that told me, it's like, man, you got to get yourself out there. You got to promote yourself. And that's just not me because I don't feel like that's genuine. I don't
Yeah.
want you to hire me or be around me or work with me because of that. I want you to be around me, work with me, and develop a relationship because you like who I am personality wise and my character. And so I'm big on that, man. And it goes back to like you said, I try to treat people um how they should be treated. Like I don't see you lesser than I am, whether you are an NAIA coach, whether you're
Yep.
a high major coach, whether you're a high school coach. I try to return every call and every text message
Yep.
all the time. Now if I'm busy, maybe a day or two late, but I do try to return it. I do try to come back and talk to you. I think that's big with me because I've been in that position before, and I don't want people to feel like I'm big timing them or anything like that. I guess it's what I mean when I try to do things the right way.
Yeah.
And it comes back full circle if you do things the right way, if you stay faithful, you treat people the right way. I think your opportunity will come at the right time when it's supposed to. I've been coaching 16 years, 16 years, and this is my first time being a high major, besides grad assistant at Arizona State. You know what
Yep.
I mean? But it finally happened, and it's been a blessing. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna continue to do what I do and act how I act, and have the right character, the right personality, and we'll see what else happens from here on out.
I love it. Now, the other thing I'd love for you to just share a little bit about is, your mindset in constantly being a student of the game, of the sport, um, it, I think so many people, it's like once they've had certain experiences or opportunities, they almost feel like they've capped out their learning, right?
Right.
Like, oh, well, man, I've been a top assistant. Like, I know how to do that. Like, it sounds like you are always trying to search, hey, what can I learn about a different defensive scheme? What can I learn about a different offensive scheme? What can I learn about how to handle, a fan or, the booster club, the supporters. So talk about just your openness and willingness to continue to learn, even after being in the profession 16 years, constantly learning and getting better and growing.
No, it's like in our staff meetings now in here at Indiana. We watch film daily as a staff and this and that. And I usually don't speak first at all because I want to hear what everybody else is saying, because I want to learn. You know what I mean? And if somebody asks me something, then I'll give my opinion.
Yep.
Compared to some coaches or other people want to try to jump out there and give their opinion and try to let others know that they can coach, or you know what I mean, I've done this before, this is how we did it. I
Yeah.
just kind of sit in behind the scenes and kind of wait until somebody may ask me, you know what I mean? And I think that's a respect level.
Yeah.
You guys been here at this level before, you know what I mean? Like DeVries, you've been winning. I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell you how to coach the defensive side or what you should do offensively and this and that. But when you ask my opinion, I'll tell you. If
Yep.
somebody asks me my opinion, I'll tell you. After everybody gets done talking or whatnot, I may throw some suggestions out there, whether you like it or not. That's fine with me. But I think it's a respect level, and I just want to learn, man. So I'm ears first before I talk.
Yeah.
How I approach every situation, and I watch film every day. I send notes to coach every now and then just to give my thoughts of what's going on. And he reads, he listens, we'll talk back and forth, and so I think it's a good relationship with the staff we have now. But again, I'm ears first before I say anything.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Well, Justin, I want to say thanks so much for hopping on and just
I
sharing your
appreciate
journey
you.
thus far. I'm excited to continue to watch where you go, and we'll have to do this again in 3 years. And you might be at Indiana, winning a national championship. You might be a head coach somewhere. I don't know, but just excited to continue to watch your journey. And thanks so much, thanks so much again for sharing it.
And I appreciate you. And if you're ever in Bloomington, man, if you want to come to a game, just let me know. We'll get you hooked up. So
You
I
heard it here first, folks. I'm coming to Bloomington.
I got you, my man. Thanks again for having me. This has been great. It's been great.